I was inspired by them, and I was really interested in business.
Do you teach people how to do this themselves so they can do it themselves?
Like I said, you can turn a lot of those so-called negatives into positives.
Welcome everybody to another exciting show. We have another exciting guest for you guys that's doing a lot of great things. Before we start, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, give us a review, and share this with anybody else that you know is looking to create financial freedom through real estate or just financial freedom in general. Our goal is to help you guys get further, faster, and get you guys financial freedom and get you making more money and getting you back more of your time. So guests like Eric are here to help you do that. So Eric, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Tony. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. It's great to have you on. We were talking before I hit record here about all the cool things that you're doing. So for those of you do not know you, give them a little bit of a backstory of how you started. You bought your first apartment at 18, right? Which is pretty impressive. I bought my first residential property at 20. People think is cool, but buying an apartment building at 18 is pretty impressive. So tell us the backstory and how you got started at 18 and then how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, I just grew up in a lower middle class family. My family was living paycheck to paycheck, just like so many other people. So nothing too special about that. But I knew when I was talking to my parents, there was a couple of business entrepreneurs in my little town that they were doing very well. There's just like a disconnect between their perspective or their point of view on the world, how the business world was working, or how the world was working, how money was working, how banking and all that was working. And other people were doing business and how they were thriving, and how my parents kept they were very stagnant in the same place or going backwards, still living paycheck year after year after year, and didn't seem like we were moving forward. I became very interested in business, and I knew from a very early age, it was probably like 9 or 10 years old, where I thought I want to know more about business. I want to be in business, and I want to do that. But it's only when I hit university that I met a real estate investor, and I had built a 36-unit apartment building, was thinking about buying, had bought a piece of land and was planning to build a shopping center, had a nursing home and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is that this guy was just a regular community college teacher. He wasn't teaching real estate or anything like that, or investing or anything about money. He was just a regular guy at a community college teacher, not smarter than anybody else, just very average guy, but he was able to do that. And it was just like, yeah, so it is possible. I can do this. And so he basically mentored me through this process. And yeah, at 18 years old, I bought apartment building, an 8-unit apartment building. And that was cash flowing, no money down because I had no money. So I got a mortgage basically from a credit union, and then the second mortgage from the seller as a vendor take back.
Nice.
And that's how I was able to finance it. And that went pretty well, cash flowing and no money down. So that was really kind of like the first proof that, hey, you can make money without having to work at the 9 to 5. Now I had the way to do this, and I was able to do it at 18. The thing is that I didn't have like a grand vision of, hey, I want to achieve financial freedom or whatever. I didn't have that concept yet. At 18, you have your life in front of you. So you kind of like, that's great, I did it. It's kind of like, your badge of honor, and then you move on, you do something else, and you forget about it. And that's kind of how it was. I eventually sold that building. I was trying still to do deals in all the other places that I live, but they were big cities. And then I couldn't find anything that cash flowed with a good return on a cash on cash return. So I kind of like, okay, well, this is not working. And eventually only probably 10 years ago, that's when I realized that we need to go out of state. So if I need to go achieve passive income, I need to find properties that are going to cash flow. Where am I going to find these properties? So that's when I started establishing kind of criteria where we want to be in a landlord-friendly state. We want to be things that have like sustainable growth in terms of population and businesses, so that we can find good deals. And then looking at the median house value, affordability, and all of that, and then figuring out where that this particular city or this particular area, I will be able to find enough deals for me to build a passive income portfolio. But that's kind of how I got started into the real estate that I have today.
So first question I have for you. So 18 years old, you buy your first apartment complex. And you said you didn't understand or think about financial freedom. It's
Yeah.
kind of interesting, like the perspective, the mindset you have at 18, and then fast forward several years later of what that's like. So tell us how much different that is, like what you
Mhm.
have and where you are now, how much different you feel like you are compared to where you thought you would have been if you would have asked yourself at 18, doing a fast forward.
Yeah, exactly. So at 18, I mean, I was introduced to a lot of other investors in the area, people that were flipping properties, they were doing value add on small apartment buildings and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, this is great. I understand this. Or they were splitting these, like six or whatever, 4-bedroom apartment. They were splitting them in half and then making two apartments out of it, and then increasing their rent by like 45%, the gross rent, and all that worked. And so all kinds of very creative ways. So I was exposed to a lot of that at that age. And I was very interested in that. My point of view at that time is that I didn't have any offer. I was 18 years old. I thought I didn't even think that I could help these people in any way achieve their goal. Now that I'm looking back, I wish I told myself, I said, no, you can be a great deal finder. You were able to find this 8-unit apartment building. I can do that. I can find another deal with these guys. I need to connect with these investors and then, build a relationship and then say, hey, you know what if I found you some deals? Can you cut me into the deals? Can you give me a finder's fee? Can you do this? Can you do that? I didn't see the value at that. I didn't see the value that I would add at that point. But now looking back, obviously, I was like, yeah, I should have realized that. And I was too focused on the money. So I was too focused on, it took me a lot. I had to analyze probably 400 or 500 properties before I could buy that one property that I could do, without any money, because I had no money. So then my focus was, I don't have money. I need to get a job to get money, instead of, I have skills, I have connections, I have a network. How can I make money with that? How can I leverage these people in order to make it in this business? So that's kind of how it was. Today, I definitely see that now it's very different. Now I'm thinking of it as, okay, well, this is financial freedom. I don't want to have a 9-to-5 job, and everything is basically has been elevated. So everything is like, if I have my time back, if I have financial freedom, I have my time back. So this is kind of like the first level. You quit your 9-to-5 job. Now you have a lot of time that's free. That time allows you to do unbelievable stuff that you cannot do without financial freedom. If you have a full-time job, there's so much stuff that you can't do. Some other businesses, helping and coaching other businesses, other people to start their own businesses. And we did trucking companies, we did some other stuff, title company and all of that. And if I had been working 9-to-5, I wouldn't be able to do all that. It would be impossible. But financial freedom gave me my time back and allows me to be involved in all these kinds of businesses, all these kinds of endeavors, and coach other people to do that. And the nice thing about it is that I'm also building a legacy for my children and my grandchildren and all of that. So this is something that's also very important to me, because I don't think it's fair that the kids have to start from ground zero every generation and have to build their own. You want to bring your kids, okay, well, you keep going, you rise up the whole family, and I'm going to help you get there. So that's the whole idea. And so I'm very happy the situation that I'm in right now, and I'm looking at a very bright future for myself and my family.
Yeah, one of the things you said was you surrounded yourself or met with other real estate investors, and not only did you meet with them, but you also saw what they were doing, and it kind of inspired you to do the things that you're doing now. I think that's super important for people to understand, is that if you want to be somewhere, find people that are already there or doing the things that you want to do, or just in general, people that are doing big things. I remember, so I've been investing for 20 years now, and it was about, I don't know, 7 years ago when I started discovering masterminds, maybe 8 years ago. And I thought I was, pretty hot, shit doing some of the stuff I was doing. And then I got in this room with other people and I'm like, oh, wow, 1,000 deals a year is really possible. That's insane. Not saying I want to do 1,000 deals a year, but then it just raised my mindset of okay, the, 50, 60, 70 deals a year, whatever I was doing at the time, is good. What else is possible? Right. And then other guys that had other businesses and were making way more money, or maybe had more time than I did, and things of that nature. So surrounding yourself with those people, I think is super important. So I'm glad that you touched on that. And then, what I was getting to with that question was a lot of people underestimate what they can do. When you're 18 years old, when I was 20 getting into this business, I was like, man, if I could have 30 rental properties, like that's cool. And then I'll pay them off. I'll pay them off when I'm, 50 years old or 55 years old, and I'll have X amount of dollars and, passive income and all that. And I got 30 properties within like, I don't know what it was, 3, 4, 5 years. It was a short, pretty short amount of time. It's like, oh, wait, okay, what else is possible? And then 5 years later, it's like, oh, hit a bunch of other milestones. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't think I'd hit those. So it's just interesting, the evolution of what you do. You think, you're doing some pretty good stuff, but if you continue to surround yourself with the right people and do the right things, you can get yourself to a much higher level and do things you never thought you could do.
Absolutely. I think, it's all about the people. I mean, this is what I'm doing now. I mean, I'm not investing so much into businesses. I'm investing into the people. I mean, the title company that we launched earlier this year, I mean, it was because we had one guy that we knew he was a hustler. We knew he didn't even know anything about title company. We had to explain to him what a title company was. And he lives in California, and then he was doing deals in Ohio for us. And that was the first market that we had selected. And he said, but we knew he was a hustler, and he passed his certification test. He did this, he organized everything, blah, blah, blah. And now he has we have 5 employees in the title company, and it's profitable, and it just started at the beginning of the year. So it's just amazing. Investing in people is great. And the same thing that I was that kid at 18 years old. I was that guy that was, and still am today, I guess. I was very eager. I would have done anything but I didn't realize that. I mean, I didn't have that thing that tells me that, hey, you could do that. Why don't you ask these investors and say, hey, how can I help you? I like what you're doing, or teach me how you're doing it. How can I do that? Or how can I help you? Or something like that. And, that's what the thing that was missing at that point, because I was focused again on money, and it's not about money. I think it's about finding the deal, finding the network, finding the right people, and then you can figure out the money. I had the luxury of time at that age also. So I was at university, but university, you have a lot of free time. So I could have invested that time more wisely, I think, and take advantage of that. And nowadays, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the time that I have. And, I spend my time very wisely. I don't waste it on things that are not important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, investing in people, that's a really good lesson there as well. Is, if you have good people, like starting the title company, like back 20 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, if I wanted to start a title company, I would have been like, okay, I need to get certified. I need to learn this. I need to learn all these things.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I don't want to learn everything. Like, I'm going to find someone else to learn a lot of the things that I want to do and want to implement, and allow them to put it in place, because, there's people that are way better at what we want to do than we are. Right. Especially as entrepreneurs, when we're all over the place, we can be pretty scattered. We can have a lot of different businesses, but we need those people that are focused on that business. And you even said he had no idea what a title company really was, right?
Yeah,
you just knew he was a hustler.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, let's get that guy, find something for him. And, the title company was it.
Yeah. I did the same thing with Rocket Offer, which is a wholesaling company. 2 guys, we knew they were hustlers. They were friends of my son. And we knew they were hustlers, and that's just like they would work. And we just made them an offer. I said, hey, would you like to do this? They didn't know anything about wholesaling. We taught them about wholesaling and said, would you want to do this business with us? But said, you need to be full-time. You're going to need to quit your job. We're going to pay you a salary, and then you're going to quit your job. They quit their job it was over Christmas. I think they quit their job between Christmas and New Year. And so they started working on that, and they've been successful. Well, took a year for them to be profitable, but now they're profitable and they're doing very well.
Awesome.
But again, people, right? So the people, they have the instinct, they have the drive to make it happen.
Yeah. So you've been in the business quite a while. What are some other lessons? So invest in people, surround yourself with the right people. Any other mistakes maybe you made, or any other things that you would kind of tell yourself back when you were 18, like, here are the things that I would avoid, or here are the things that I would do knowing what you know now?
So I think that the not so much. I don't have any really like, things that I wish I didn't make that mistake. But I think that the things that I need to worry about is kind of like, where do you focus your attention? So I like to focus my attention on kind of like what's going to give me in terms of investing. I think it's about the returns. Obviously, looking at your return on equity and your return. So I'm very focused on that every day. One of the things I wish that I wish I had done earlier was getting an executive assistant. That was like I had an executive. And when I got the executive assistant, she was automatically like pretty soon, like she was fully booked. And I was still very busy on my own. Like I kept myself busy on other stuff. And I was just like, I got, how did I do all this before? Not this woman is like 100% busy, like working like, the full week. And then she also does things on the evenings and weekends and stuff like that. And on top of that, I was doing that and I was doing what I was doing today. So it's just like, the earlier you can kind of like identify these things that you can delegate to other people and free yourself to, and so that you can spend the time on things that you're the best at. I think that's the biggest thing. So so if there was a mistake or another mistake that I made was that is not realizing the importance of that. And I had done like a virtual assistant before, and it kind of works, but it's much better to have someone that live in the same city as you, and then that understands what you're going through, that can really help you. You're going to pay a lot more money, but it's totally worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, people don't understand how valuable it is that are lone entrepreneurs, just to have that one extra person that takes that load off you, where you can work on things that are more, dollar productive. So for me, it's return on investment, it's return on time, and it's return on energy, right? What are the things that I can put in that'll give me those three things back? Yeah. And I try and work on those as much as I possibly can, and give all the rest to other people that are better at those other things that I don't like, that aren't going to provide me energy or a return on investment.
Yeah. So the return on energy is a good one for sure. So I'd like to implement that a little bit more. Return on time, yeah, that's true. I mean, I do spend extra time. I mean, you have to spend time. You have to invest your time in order to kind of like define what the process is or automate certain things. And then so that you can get some of that time back or delegate and all of that. So, but there's kind of a science into delegation that you have to think about. And there was one book, I think it was Thinking in Systems. I think that was very good. And then that was really about how do you create the processes so that you can delegate that to someone else. It was very important. And even if you don't necessarily delegate these processes right away, maybe you kind of like keep them, to yourself for now. And then you can kind of like eventually delegate them to someone else and figure out that there's a role here for someone to do all this stuff. And then you realize what you're doing and the stuff that you could be offloading to somebody else. And that could be the kick that you need to hire someone and realize that, there's enough stuff for someone else to be helping me here.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about some of the other things you're doing. You kind of touched on the apartments and, a little bit of what else you're doing, but you have a turnkey real estate business you're doing in multiple cities. You mentioned a fund. You mentioned you do some coaching and mentorship. So kind of touch on those things. So start with the turnkey investing. It sounds like you want to provide more financial freedom from other people. I think that's why you said that you started the turnkey real estate business.
Yeah, exactly. So it started really when we started this business as a family. It was about building a passive income for us. So that's how it started. And then a lot of our friends and family that would ask us, like, what are you guys doing? Like, it's like, while we're investing in, rental properties. So, really? Okay, where? It's in Memphis and Cleveland. It's like, what? Why are you investing in Memphis and Cleveland? What's going on? And then we tell them, it's because of this. And look at this property, this cash flowing. And it's like at that time, it was like 12% cash on cash returns. And then they would say, wow, okay, well, this is interesting. And can I buy one of those? And then that's kind of like we sold a couple, and then we said, okay, well, then more and more people were interested and said, well, maybe this is a business for us to do. And so Martel Turnkey was created at that point. And then now we're doing 200 flips a year. We currently have in our balance sheet about like just over 200 properties in different stages of development. And so things are doing very well. And we have like a team of about 10 people, kind of like for acquisition, for sales, and project management and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good. And the goal was really to help people achieve financial freedom by building a passive income portfolio. So far, it's been working very well. I also wrote my book, Stop Trading Your Time for Money, to kind of like tell people how to achieve financial freedom. So part of it is about mindset. Part of it is about alignment of your goals. So if your number one goal should be to achieve financial freedom, so that should be everyone's number one goal. And then there are different strategies. Real estate, I think, is the best way to invest in real estate and to build that passive income portfolio. But you have to find the right strategy. And that the right strategy for you depends on how much time you have to invest in that, how much money you have to invest in that, and if you have any kind of special skills that you can bring to the table. So once you understand that, that's going to determine kind of like which of the strategies that I identified in my book makes sense for you. I basically have like a quadrant, a strategic investment quadrant, and you pick that, and then you pick one of the strategies that work for you, and then you invest in that. Single family rental is probably one of the best. Turnkey single family rental is probably one of the best. And this is why Martel Turnkey is so successful right now. And then, just after that, just keep going at it. And the reason why I'm offering the mentorship is that some people so I put everything in the book. So if you read the book, you should be able to do your transactions. But there are people that still need additional assistance. So if for those people I can offer mentorship. I know that the mentor that I had to my first apartment building was instrumental. I wouldn't have done this deal without him, just because he guided me through. But he also told me that it's okay, just keep going, because after like analyzing 200 properties and talking to my real estate broker was telling me, yeah, you're never gonna find it. It doesn't exist what you're looking for. Kind of, you had a slightly different voice, but and then 300 properties, and I would look at my mentor and say, like, are you sure? Like, in 400 properties, and that eventually I found the property that I was looking for. But the mentor really kind of like helped me continue on this difficult path forward. So hopefully the book is going to help a lot of people achieve financial freedom. If not, I can help them with mentorship, and I can also help them with Martel Turnkey to help them build their portfolio very easily.
That's great. Sounds like you're a real giver. I mean, doing the turnkey stuff, I know that's a lot to be able to find the properties, fix them up, get the management in place, and then perform on the back end for your clients. So there's a lot of moving parts there. And I think people don't understand how much there is to that, right? And then
That's right. So many people are trying to do what we're doing. Yeah, we make it look so easy and all of that. But yeah, there are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of problems to solve along the way. That's for sure.
Yeah, because we're pretty much keeping everything we buy right now. We used to flip, and luckily we're able to keep most everything. And even for us, like for us to put our management in place, and then I'm the client, and so I'm not having to deal with outside clients. So I can only imagine all of that interaction and all the reporting and everything you need to do for clients involved in that.
Yeah, I mean, we help our clients actually get the financing, get the insurance, and then also introduce them to the property management company. And then of course you have to deal with the appraisals, the inspections if they want to do an inspection, all that kind of stuff, and then that kind of kick back some other problems on their own. So yeah, so it's a little bit, it's challenging, that's for sure, but it's also very rewarding, I would say.
Awesome. So we'll start wrapping up here. What's next for you? What, like, you've created a lot of success doing 200 deals a year. I mean, there's a lot that you've accomplished over your career. Is there something else that's next? Are you looking to take what you have now and just completely optimize and focus on it? Or are there any other big things that you're looking at kind of in the future to expand on what you've already done?
The big one right now for me is Martel Invest, which is our tokenized real estate fund. So, there's a lot of investors that are working with us that they want to buy real estate rentals, but they don't want to be a landlord, or they can't get conventional lending for whatever reason. It could be people that have a lot of money still, that are, accredited investors, but they don't have a regular W-2, or it could be people that don't have regular income and they have lower salaries, or they don't, but there's a broad range here, but can't get a loan, can't get conventional loans, don't want to be a landlord, don't want to deal with that. They want to minimize risk. They don't want to put, let's say, $30,000 down payment on one house and then hoping that everything goes well. They would rather spread their risk across a portfolio. And this is what Martel Invest is about. It's a tokenized portfolio of single family rentals, and people can buy into that portfolio with as little as $50. So the advantage of that, it's on the blockchain, so everybody can see. It's a secure system basically to keep track of all the transactions, all the purchases that you're doing with your tokens. If you want to sell your tokens to someone else or transfer them, this is also kind of all tracked in the blockchain. And eventually, right now we're accepting funds from accredited investors. We're working on the next phase, which is accepting money from everybody, and then also opening up in about 3 to 4 months. We're going to open it up on open exchanges as well. So you're going to be able to trade your tokens at market value on open exchanges for security tokens.
Nice.
So we're pretty excited about that. I actually think that this is going to be the future of real estate. Real estate investing, at least, maybe not everything, but for real estate investing, because there's so many movements or experiments right now about bringing real estate investing to the masses, all kinds of different ways to kind of like fractionalize real estate into little pieces so that everybody can invest and have a piece of that. Everybody realized the importance of real estate as a part of your investment portfolio. And I think that the real estate on the blockchain is going to be the next step to achieve that.
That's super cool. I mean, that could be a whole nother podcast that we could dive into. But I invest with a guy that does multifamily retail stuff. He's actually blown up pretty big the last, I think, like 5 years. I was actually lending money to him to float his business, and then I started investing in some of his deals, and he went from that to where he was just and now he has like $300-400 million in real estate. I mean, he just totally. Wow. But he actually did a fund with blockchain, and I didn't invest in it because I didn't understand it. But now that you explained it a little bit more, I'm like, man, that's a little interesting. Maybe I need to look into that a little bit more.
Absolutely, it's worth investigating. It's a little bit painful at the beginning because you have to set up your digital wallet. And it's a little bit different, but at the same time you have to correlate that to things that you have already. So your digital wallet is kind of like your wallet or your portfolio. It is going to have everything in it: your money, your tokens, your share of different businesses. If you buy art, it's going to be in there. If you buy everything you buy digitally, it's going to be in your digital wallet. So that's very similar to something that we have in real life. These tokens, these security tokens for Martel Invest, for example, they're just like shares of a company. You're buying shares of a company, and that company owns the real estate and invests the real estate for you. So you have active management, it's cash flowing from day one, minimize risk, all that good stuff that you're looking for when you're investing in a company. So again, it's very similar. It's just that all that stuff now has been put in a blockchain, and blockchain is a very secure system for keeping track of all these kinds of transactions.
Awesome. And as far as setting up that fund, is it similar to setting up a normal syndication kind of fund, or is it quite a bit different because you have the blockchain involved?
It's a little bit different, but it's not that different. I think there's just like when you create your PPM, for example, you want to make sure that you go through a lawyer that knows about security tokens. Because as you've probably read many PPMs before, this is private placement memorandum that basically outlines all the risk associated with the investment, right? So obviously with blockchain, they want to also outline some of the risk, that additional risk that may happen with the blockchain and some of the currencies like cryptocurrency, if there are cryptocurrencies involved. We don't take cryptocurrency, and it's not a cryptocurrency, but they want to highlight some of these risks that you don't have necessarily in real life.
Awesome, cool.
That's the only difference.
So if anybody wants to invest, if they're a accredited investor, wants to invest with you or take advantage of your mentorship or buy turnkey properties, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
So the best way to reach out to me is marteleric.com. So this is where I have all the stuff that you need to know about me, the podcast, books, and all of that. And then in terms of the investment for turnkey, it's Martel Turnkey. In terms of the tokenized real estate fund, it's Martel Invest. So it's pretty simple. Martel starts everything, and then you have Martel Eric, Martel Invest, Martel Turnkey.
And that's Eric, ERIC, for those of you.
Correct.
All right, awesome. So if you guys like this episode, please like, subscribe, give us a great review, and share this with someone who you think could use turnkey properties, wants to invest in real estate, wants to get started. We're trying to get as many people into real estate as possible, and then take those that are into real estate and help them to think at a higher level to earn the time freedom like Eric has been able to do and start multiple things without having to necessarily work so many extra hours, which we didn't even talk about that part of it, but maybe when we have you on again sometime in the future, we'll talk a little bit more about that. So thanks for coming on, Eric. Any last words before we jump off here?
Oh, I think this is great. I'm happy that I was able to help people. I mean, I'm here to share, my experience and my expertise. So feel free to connect with me. I'm going to do what I can to help you.
Awesome. Thanks again, Eric. Good luck to everything you're doing, and look forward to connecting again soon.
Great. Thank you.